Good morning. Welcome back to the vlog. It's been a little bit, few weeks since we've done one, but it is head to the Bay Area for a speech day. So I wanted to take you inside that day. We're hitting the road. It is almost 9 o'clock in the morning. Got a nice speech. Might have a couple appointments, maybe some lunch, and then heading back for our weekly leadership team meeting this afternoon once we get back. So looking forward to having you along for the ride.
Easy no need to go down. Rock that run, this how we from.
So as I mentioned, it's been a few weeks since we've done one of these vlogs, and so I thought I'd fill everybody in on kind of what's been going on with the firm and everything since the last vlog we did, and it's been a wild month or so. December, between all the year-end tax plans that we signed up over the course of the year. If you follow us, we talked about how it's important to meet with your CPA before year-end, not after year-end, because that's where they can really become a profit center for you. Well, we did that with a lot of our clients this year, and then also, I don't know if it was just the stars aligning or all the tax reform, but we had an explosive month on the new client development side of things, which was awesome. So it's just been kind of a whirlwind month, and just kind of figuring out how the new tax reform is going to impact all of the business owners, and then potentially their clients if they work with a lot of consumers. And then New Year dropped, and then we had our partner retreat in Hawaii. So we'll be kind of sharing with you how we made our trip to Hawaii deductible in the coming weeks. And so it's been a whirlwind of new clients, tax reform, tax planning, and then a little bit of R&R recovery and aligning for the coming year. Excited for 2018. And yeah, so that's where we're at.
Easy no need to go down. Rock that run, this how we from. Easy no need to go down. Rock that run, this how we from. Easy no need to go down. Rock that run, this how we from. Easy no need to go down. Rock that run, this how we from.
Let's see. KW. And okay, just started selling homes, or you been in the business a while? Just joined Keller Williams?
From the 19s.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Probably, and then announcements at the end.
Okay, sounds good.
Is that good?
That's great. Hello.
Without further ado, I'm going to introduce our guest speaker. Really excited, really timely topic for all of you right now. Tyler McBroom.
Yeah.
Jason recommended that we bring him in to talk about some tax saving strategies for you as agents and business owners. So,
all right, here we go. Oh, first we have a thank you for setting this up. It's a custom bottle of wine here. So
my first custom bottle.
Yeah,
of wine.
there you go. Thank you for. And actually, I owe one to Jason too for making the introduction. But. I want to know is who wants to put an extra $15,000 of cash in their pocket this year instead of to Uncle Sam? Everyone, right? Great. So we're going to cover some tax saving ideas. Some are basic must-dos, some are more creative on how you can go about doing that. And then at the end, we're going to cover what's, at least in our world, has been a really hot topic in these last few weeks, which is some of the changes that happened after the first of the year with the new tax reform, both how it's going to affect all of you as business owners and some of how it'll affect your clients as potential homeowners and home sellers as well. And please, as we're going, interrupt me with questions. I love answering them on spot and as we go while they're fresh. So make sure we got there we go. All right, so first our 7-step realtor tax solution. And as the steps go, what we're gonna show you is how to put your business into a sub-S corporation and how that can save you lots of money. Who here has their business in an S corporation? Great, so a couple of you. So you're going to really like this idea. Step 2 is to rent your personal home to your corporation for shareholder board meetings. And we're going to show you how to save anywhere from $10,000 to $12,000 totally tax-free doing that and save about 10 grand a year. Yeah?
Is there a stage where once they leave college and they have a median earning that at up to some level of their own income,
Mm-hmm.
this still benefits everybody.
So that's going to depend on what your income is compared to what their income is. So it's when they're in college, it's great because you're transferring and getting those credits that you'd probably phase out of. When they're out of college, it still could potentially work. If you're up making money where you're in the 28%, 33% bracket, and they're down in like the 10 or 12% bracket, you're getting a 33% deduction that they're picking up at 10 or 12%. So that's a 20% savings. And so it still can make sense. And then, so as a combined unit, you're paying less tax. And so then you just pay them a dollar amount and then cut them a check for the tax. And so that's where, the tax planning proactively, having those conversations before the end of the year so you can cut those checks is really important and key. But yeah, great question.
In the first year, and then as long as you keep on doing it, then you keep on deferring.
Right. So
It's only 138.
but you don't have to take that full amount in the first year. Like I mentioned, you're determining your potential borrowing needs. So what's nice about this is you can pick the tax you want to pay. So if you need to borrow for an AGI based on 250, but you actually made 600, then you can defer down to that exact 250, so you can have all the purchasing power that you want and not pay a penny more in tax than you need for that purchasing power. So you might, and we don't want to bring you down too low where you're getting a deduction at 10% and then picking it up later at 37%. So it's kind of an ebb and flow running numbers, and this is where the tax planning is mandatory on this. And what we like to do is run numbers in July to see where you're at and then give you some instructions for the second half of the year, and then again in October, and then in December. And so of this 370,000 possible, you might take 150 in the first year. And then so you've still got 220 left. Then you take another 100 the next year. So now you're deferring 250 in the second year until you hit that maximum. And then maybe on a lower year, you pick up some of the income because you've got a lower tax bracket. Another thing that's really nice, if you know you're not going to borrow for the next couple years and you think we're a couple years out and then maybe we're going to have a market correction, defer a bunch, and then you might pick up some income in a year when no one else can borrow. Then you've got a ton of purchasing power and you can go around buying a bunch of properties when no one else can borrow. So that's, tax planning, looking out ahead, different questions to think about.
I had a question. So
Yeah.
I had formed
What was your name?
I'm David.
David? Nice to meet you.
I'm new to the business, so I'm really I don't really have much things to kind of deduct or whatever. But I did form an LLC maybe a year ago.
Okay.
That was through InkFile.
Okay. Have you filed a single member LLC tax return
No, I
for
haven't.
2017?
I believe it. Yeah, I did.
Okay. So you had your Schedule C and then there's a separate state return. You did that? Okay, good. Because there's an $800 fee that goes along with that.
And so now obviously if I grow my business, my real estate business, then I'll kind of form the S corp.
Yeah. So you can just make an election. You don't have to dissolve the LLC. You can just keep the LLC going. And then just
But
make
would it be under that separate entity, or would it?
So the LLC that you formed, you just make an election to be taxed as an S corporation. Thank you.
Nice to meet you. I have a question about the LLC thing, because I know you said because you can elect to tax it. Mm-hmm. So is there any benefits you don't get if you just don't have it?
Not
Even
being
if
taxed?
if you just tax it as it and not have an actual S corp?
So you just have the LLC, so you already have an LLC?
No,
Or no?
I was thinking of getting an.
So you might as well just be an S corporation at that point.
Okay.
The liability protection is very similar.
Okay.
So there's not really, and I actually just heard yesterday that in the state of California, the Department of Real Estate won't let you put your license in an LLC. So you want to be an S corporation anyways.
Well, yeah, thanks for telling
So.
me that. I waited all this time and would have tried to.
So yeah, definitely in S corporation, you still get a lot of that protection. So
Thank you.
yeah, huh? I do. Did you need a card? Hi. Oh, you did? Okay.
Okay.
And then here, if you want to fill out your information, I can send you at least a copy of the slides. And if you want to touch bases, actually, I'm going to be hanging around if you want to do a quick one-on-one.
Yeah, I can't because I'm teaching now.
Oh, you are?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll fill this out.
Okay. How long are you teaching?
I'm actually picking up 2 classes, so till 3.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Sure. Okay. I mean, so if you want, I'll give you a call maybe tomorrow or something, and I can just run through these real quick. It'll take about 25 minutes maybe, or 20, 25 minutes, and just run through a couple of the ideas that we talked about.
Okay.
I'm happy to do that.
Okay.
And then go see whatever. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay,
Awesome.
Thank you very
Well, it was
much.
nice to meet you, Desiree.
Desiree.
Tyler.
Yeah, Tyler.
Where'd my pin go?
I gotta make sure it's centered. Let me practice it. All right.
This is like the real deal. Yeah.
All right, here we go.
So the foil is harder than the paper though, so squeeze harder than that.
Okay.
There you go. That works.
Sweet.
Cool.
Any thoughts on it?
I think it went really well. When you're in the Bay Area, prices are so high as real estate agents, which was the talk we just gave it to a Keller Williams office. When you sell 4 or 5 homes and your commissions are above that threshold where it makes sense to form an S corporation. So they're definitely, you get a lot of interest. So it went really well. A lot of good, engaging questions. And then, with all the new tax reform that was just passed, there's all kinds of interest around that. So it's a good time to be speaking in front of business owners. So it was good.
Easy no need to go down. Rock that, run that, this how we from. Easy no need to go down. Rock that, run that, this how we from. Easy no need to go down. Rock that, run that, this how we from. Easy no need to go down. Rock that, run that, this how we from.
We were driving back from the Bay Area, which probably was about an hour and 20-minute drive to get to our speech, and just thinking about it in terms of going and giving a speech takes a solid 3/4 of a day between prepping, driving, giving the speech, meeting with everyone afterwards, and thinking in terms of what are high dollar productivity items, because it seems like on the surface, instead of taking 3/4 of a day to go give a speech, I could probably review and or crank out, I don't know, a few returns, and so that's several $1,000s worth of work, maybe $5,000-$6,000 worth of work that I could do in a 5-hour period sitting in the office. And so it seems like, man, taking 3/4 of a day to go give a speech is costing money because I'm taking that time. But if you look at the ROI of the time spent, if from that talk, and there were a lot of really good, pretty engaged people that seemed like they might become clients, if I get, let's say, 2 clients from the speech at an average fees, our average new client fees are about $7,500. So that's 50, and the average lifetime of a client is about 8 years. So when you amortize that over 8 years, 15,000 times 8, that's $120,000. That means, based on average numbers, that 5-hour session would earn our firm $120,000. So that's actually a pretty dang good ROI compared to the maybe $5,000 or $6,000 I could get from sitting in the return, which is still good, making getting $5,000 or $6,000 billed and out the door, and that still needs to get done. But when you're looking at the opportunity cost of the time spent, and this is true for anyone in business, maybe getting that sale right now versus doing the marketing activities that are going to broadcast you out to 10 more people that are going to sign up, versus filling out paperwork that's earning no money for you at all, when you can hire someone out and pay them $12 an hour to do that while you go do the other high level work. It's important to look at how you're spending your time, and what might be seemingly the most productive time you can get to bring in that dollar right now is costing you in what you could be spending it on down the line. And so if I can take one 5-hour day that's going to eventually make us $120,000, I'm going to do that every day of the week. So on that note, if you have an office that you're looking for need some training for, we go give speeches. So just putting that out there as well. And yeah, hopefully that was valuable. And we're almost back to the office. Got our leadership team meeting coming up. I've talked a little bit about that before, but I'll just kind of reshare what that is. And that's once a week, our leadership team, which is me, my dad, and then another one of our managers, meet, and we have a firm issues list that whenever there's something we need to talk about, we put it up on the list. That way, instead of just having random conversations, we have a set of time per week to hash those out and figure them out, and then roll them out to the rest of the team. So that's coming up. We do that every Wednesday afternoon at 3 o'clock. It's about a 90-minute meeting. And then that's close to wrapping the day. So, but yeah, figure out where your most productive time is and spend as much time as possible there. Back to work. Hello, hello. You want to say hi to the camera? Do you want to? Does this feel like old times? What's up? It is 5:38. Just got home, picking the kids up and Erica, going to the gym, little family gym time, getting that Ironman, half Ironman training started. Then back home for some dinner, maybe leftovers, maybe something fresh, maybe a little work. We'll see where the energy's at, but that's where I'm at right now. Boom. Wrapping up, we got a nice little gym session. Checked out the new gym down the street. There's an outdoor pool, which I was really excited about. Got some swim yards in. Gonna be starting my half Ironman training soon. So if you want to follow along on kind of what goes into that, go over to Instagram, follow me at Tyler McBroom. Got the kids down, double bath. You can see the pack and play right over there. And about to have some dinner with my wife. We gonna have a glass of wine? Might. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see how it goes. All right. Have a great one, and we will see you later.